Hi everyone, we're here at the Buraq Center by Ladies Fund where we have our incredible boot camp, which is now closing up from day one with some incredible sessions, ending of course with the amazing Shanaz Ramzi. Now, Shanaz is someone who is probably one of the most incredible human beings I've encountered, who not only multitasks in so many fields from PR to writing to Rotary to for business to for-profit to non-profit to everything. And I can't even name all of them, but one area where she is now becoming the queen in every which way is in PR. And having seen her from the inception of her company, which is very young, is it now 3 years?
8 years.
8 years, okay. It has won global international awards, and also she has evolved it through scaling clients in a way that I've rarely seen. And so you heard from Henna about the incredible importance of finance, not just because you're in a business to make money, but because it's the backbone of the growth of that business. So that was a very, very important topic. But the other backbone of the growth of a business is clients. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. They're very important. And Shanaz is the queen of the hustle. She's going to talk not about the financial element, but the element of how to get clients. What she's done to go from, I'm assuming her first client, to now thousands?
Well, I don't know about thousands, but yes, quite a few.
And repeat clients, but also new clients flowing to her. And I've seen that hustle unparalleled by anyone to the way she does it. So the tricks of the trade, as well as the sensible, logical, consistent, reliable way she does things, are applicable to every single one of your companies. So this is another session that is widespread to all of you, applicable to every last one of you. So Shanaz, the floor is yours. And I know you have a PowerPoint as well.
Yeah, thank you. I don't think I need this really. It's okay.
We need it for the Facebook Live.
Yeah,
oh, you don't need it?
For the sound.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, thank you.
So, let me stand here so that I don't block. She's already introduced me. I am CEO of Starlings PR and Events. And basically, I'm very glad that I attended a little bit of the other session because it's given me an idea that you already know now the background about what I was going to dwell in a little bit. So we can go on to the next slide. So this is just a little quotation that I have for you all. Dream big. There are no limits to how good you can become or how high you can rise, except the limits you put on yourself. So before I go on, I would just like a quick introduction from your end so I know what brands you are dealing in, what kind of enterprise you all have as entrepreneurs. So what is your startup?
I'm Rasmi Ahmed and my company's name is Karachi Fudge Company.
Fudge Company, okay. And yours?
I'm Javeria Nakuda. I'm co-founder PJ's Jars. We make desi goodies such as achars, chutneys.
Great. So food related so far?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm Bushra Abbas. I'm basically a business and a personal development coach, and I have been running this business from this year. Started my startup this year.
Asma Kazmi, and I run a safety and sustainability consulting business.
Okay, great. So let's move on to the next. So this is basically something you all have just dealt with in detail, preparing for financial challenges. So most startups generate revenue from business. They do not invest their profits to further their business. As a result, the businesses do not survive long term. I'm sure you all have dealt with this in detail, but basically I find that a lot of startups are, they will invest a lot. Whatever they get then becomes their profit. Now they become wary of reinvesting the amount that they have earned to grow and scale their business. And that's when they start stagnating. So if you want to really develop and you want to have bigger clients, better clients, you have to start growing. So I think reinvesting is one of the keys. in putting together a business strategy, business owners should always focus on sales, revenues and cash flow and know every day how much money is being made. So focus on your net profit, not on your gross profit, and then start working on it accordingly. Okay? Pay attention to sales and marketing. Now this is where the other aspect, aside from the financial, comes in, where it's very important for you to know who your target audience is and then develop a contact with them also. Once you have somebody who's interested, who's coming into you as a client, it's very, very important for you to have a one-on-one relationship with them as well. You need to connect with people face to face. The problem now has become that we've become so much dependent on social media, which is now the primary way of connecting with potential customers, that we forget that this is a very important part of building clients also. So we will focus on social media because that is the way to go, and that will be your next slide. So social media marketing is basically the way to introduce your brand these days, and you do it aggressively online. You can help. This will help in building your company's brand, driving website traffic, increasing sales, makes the customers aware of your products and services, engages them, helps them to make the buying decisions. I'm sure all 4 of you are already on social media and you have your brands advertised on it, right? So I think that is one very important and essential way of selling yourself, selling your brand. But again, don't restrict yourself to just social media. Be hands-on and be meticulous. In order to grow your business, the business owner needs to be actively involved and present. Maybe not physically, virtually, but you have to be there, knowing what's happening in your, I don't know whether you all are all working through your houses or whether you all have got an office space, but my recommendation, firstly, is if you want to be taken seriously and if you want to grow, you must have an office space. Whether it's in your house and you've kept a separate space which is just your workspace, whether you've rented or you have your own, but you must have, if you want to be taken seriously, you must have your own official space. And a business owner should always know what's happening inside that space and outside that space. If you have people who are part of your operation team, where they're going, who they're meeting, what was discussed, you have to be on top of things. So you have to be, when you start a franchise, if you take up a franchise of McDonald's or KFC or something, even if you're going to be the CEO, you're going to be buying that franchise, they make you start from scratch. You have to go through the mill in order to be able to qualify to get that franchise. And they make you clean the bathrooms. They make you start from there. Because they feel that unless you know exactly what they want to keep their guidelines and to follow exactly how they want to run their businesses, you can't do it. So you shouldn't be afraid of doing menial tasks. You have to be hands-on. I mean, people are always telling me, "Ab baith jaye, ab kyun bhag rahi hain, ab kyun ye kar rahi hain, bacche hain wo kar lenge." But I myself don't feel relaxed until I'm doing it myself. I'm on the spot, knowing what's happening, supervising, even if it's talking to the vendors, whatever it is. But I'm there doing it. That has to be done.
But Shanazji, sorry,
Ji.
isn't that also a barrier to your scaling process, that you are sort of a control freak and you're not letting other people do their job?
No, you are letting them do their job. But you're also there on top of it.
Okay.
To make sure that it's being done properly. So yes, it is a control freak thing, but I feel that it's very important. I have a very great team, but I have always found that if I have left it completely to them, कोई ना कोई चीज़ overlook हो जाती है. और मैं पहले उनको कह देती थी और मेरा assumption ये होता था कि अब कह दिया तो हो ही जाएगा, because I mean that's the way it works with me. कि मुझे कह दिया तो now it's my responsibility, I'll do it. बट वो इतनी चीज़ें उनके भी दिमाग में चल रही होती है कि वो एक चीज़ रह जाती है. तो मैं इन लोगों को हमेशा कहती हूँ मेरा जॉब जो है ना वो सिर्फ नैगिंग का रह गया है अब. तो मैं वो रोज़ाना सब नैग कर रही होती हूँ, ये हो गया, ये क्यों नहीं हुआ, ये कब होगा, बट आई एम ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट. कर वो ये रहे, मगर I have to be constantly on it in order to make sure that it's being done. and being done the way I want it done, basically. Jay. So selling is a transfer of enthusiasm. Business owners need to show their enthusiasm for their product and services as well as for their customers. So if you are sort of like a disciple about your own work and you feel that, oh, okay, चल रहा है, काम ही है ना, as long as profit आ रहा है, पैसे बन रहे हैं तो ठीक है, चलते रहे, ये आपका ट्रांसफर हो जाएगा. और अगर आप खुद enthusiastic हैं अपने काम के बारे में and you want to deliver your best and you're going to put in all your energy, that will also get transmitted. And this is something that, these are vibes that your clients, your customers will pick on immediately. If you are going to be proud of your product and if you're going to sell it like that, they will be enthusiastic and they will be encouraged to try out your product. But if you're not enthusiastic about what you're selling, the others are not likely to be either.
But I have a question over here. Like we see people are like I have seen top entrepreneurs. They are saying that after few years your business should be automated. What is that? Like you are saying, okay, I have to keep check on everyone. So when your business can be automated and how?
When you have scaled up enough that you have got people who are at your CEO level, you have hired people who are the best of the best to take care of that product, then it is automated and you are still checking, but you're not checking on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You have to reach that stage. To reach that stage, it takes time, it takes years. It cannot be done overnight, and nor should you expect it to be done overnight. Because जो चीज़ें इतनी जल्दी इतनी बड़ी हो जाती है ना, वो थड़ करके नीचे भी गिर जाती हैं. So my experiences, and I have seen people who've literally started from an industry where which is totally disconnected to what they're doing now. And they started with that, they worked their way up, then they had enough to invest. So they invested in a completely different kind of a sector. And once they were involved, they set it up, they gave it to somebody who was completely attuned to that sector, because that person who set it up was not from that line. He was from his own line. वो उन्होंने करके वो सेटअप कर लिया, तो इतने पैसे बना लिए थे कि उन्होंने फिर reinvested in another sector altogether, and he got people who were from that sector to monitor it. अब वो खुद उसमें इतना उनका खुद का input, other than just making sure that professionalism हो रही है, काम ठीक से deliver हो रहा है, timely हो रहा है, उसके अलावा वो daily monitoring वो खुद भी नहीं कर सकते थे, क्योंकि वो जिनको उन्होंने रखा था वो उनसे ज़्यादा competent थे in that particular sector.
That's my point. In Pakistan, I have seen, like I am also a business coach, so I have seen people who are complaining about that work is not doing as per our expectations, is because they are not keeping that potential employee on that post.
I agree completely.
They are the employee is not competing for the post, but they are just keeping because they are not paying them that much.
That's true.
So,
but when you are a startup, you can't afford to pay that much. That is the problem. We are discussing as startups, how can you gradually scale up? So आप इतने उस लेवल पे अभी नहीं आए हैं जहाँ पे आप इतना एक्सपेंसिव रिसोर्स को हायर कर सकते हैं जिसको आपने हायर करके और छोड़ दिया और समझा कि बस ठीक है वो काम हो जाएगा. हाँ, अगर जैसे वो कह रही हैं आपके पास एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स हैं, कोई फाइनेंशियर्स हैं, आपने स्टार्टअप अपना इस्टेब्लिश कर लिया है, अब आप 2-3 साल से आप कर रहे हैं अपना काम, and now people are saying that yes, they are not going to wrap up, they are there to stay, they are willing to invest in you. Then you start investing in resources like these that can take your company even higher. But when you are at a startup stage, I remember when I started the company, people who were running the PR business, who I was friends with, their first advice to me was, सुनो, बिल्कुल छोटा रखना अपना, overheads बिल्कुल कम रखना, तुम फंस जाओगे नहीं तो बाद में, तो तुम मतलब 1-2 लोगों से ज़्यादा पे invest ही नहीं करना. And these are people who were established, who were running PR companies for years, who were telling me that. मैंने कहा मैं तो शुरू करते ही 3 लोगों को हायर कर लिया है, तो मैं तो इससे कम तो मैं कर ही नहीं सकती हूँ, because I felt that I needed at least one operations person, one finance person, one social media person. तो मतलब मेरा तो शुरू ही कैसे होता कंपनी. तो bare minimum तो one invests in, and obviously I wasn't investing in
top category people who I, because at that point I didn't know मेरा चलेगा नहीं चलेगा, मैं कितना afford कर पाऊँगी, मैं उनको उतना दे पाऊँगी या नहीं. But then they grew with me, I trained them, they themselves also learned on the job, and they became from good to better to best. वो होता चला जाता है, it's a gradual process. But if you have a big backing from day one, and you can just invest in top tier people, well, bully for you, then you have no problems because you already have top tier people. But if you're the general way that people start their startups is when they're starting from scratch themselves with very little, I didn't take loans from anyone, I didn't take loans from a bank or anything. I started with whatever I had and I invested that and then, took it from there.
शनाज जी, एक जो रिसोर्स का आजकल बहुत अल्टरनेटिव पीपल आर कंसिडरिंग इज आउटसोर्सिंग ऑल्सो. अब जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल फॉर अ स्टार्टअप द फाइनेंस फंक्शन मे नॉट बी व्हाइल इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट, ठीक है, आई एम माई सेल्फ एम अ फाइनेंस पर्सन, बट हर वक्त की उसकी एक रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं होती. सो आजकल बहुत सारे लोगों का ये है कि भाई आप एक रिसोर्स को आफ्टर ऑफिस आवर्स बुलाकर 2 से 3 घंटे में यू कैन कीप बुक्स. तो उस तरह के लिए भी ओपन होना चाहिए फ्रॉम अ, जैसे द वे यू थिंक अबाउट योर प्रोडक्ट ना, उसके वेज एंड मीन्स ऑफ वेरिएशंस लाते रहते हो ना. इवन सेटिंग अप योर बिजनेस में देयर आर ऑलवेज वेरिएशंस अवेलेबल.
बिल्कुल, she is 100% right. And I have done the same thing myself. When I started, I had a full-time finance person, I had a full-time graphic designer, I had a full-time social media person. फिर आहिस्ते आहिस्ते मैंने आई इन्वेस्टेड इन ऑपरेशंस पर्सन. पहले तो हम लोग मल्टीटास्क भी कर रहे थे, एक पर्सन की 3 पोर्टफोलियोज चल रहे थे बिकॉज जाहिर है कि आप बहुत ज़्यादा टीम बड़ा भी नहीं कर सकते थे. तो जो बंदा एडमिन भी देख रहा था, वो सोशल मीडिया भी देख रहा था, 2-3 पोर्टफोलियोज उनके थे. आहिस्ते आहिस्ते जैसे हम ग्रो करते गए, हम डाइवर्सिफाई करते गए, and then we also started outsourcing. So now my finance person basically is the person who was working full time for me before. Now because salaries have increased so much and everything is इतना सब कुछ expenditures इतने बढ़ते चले गए हैं, तो I now have him coming in thrice a week to me. So he comes official office hours, he's not outside office hours, he sits from morning till evening, but he comes thrice a week instead of coming every day. So, and then he's available whenever I need him. Online के कुछ मैंने invoice बनवाना है, कुछ करना है, तो मैंने WhatsApp कर दिया, वो आ जाता है from the thing. But he's also now outsourcing, so he is going freelancing and he's going to different people. Yeah. So he's making more money that way also. Yeah. I'm managing to still keep the best at prices that I can afford. And काम इस तरह चलता है. So you have to improvise and change with the times, but you have to keep. If you want to build your company and you still want to have people who you can afford to keep, then this is another way to go, that you start outsourcing. Next. So the other thing is focus on the customer. The purpose of your business should not be to make a profit. It should be to create and retain your customer. If you are just concentrating on making money, then the way you deal with your clients and customers and the way you deal with your own business becomes very different from when you're doing it as a passion, when you're doing it with enthusiasm, because you love what you're doing and you want to give the best. You want to retain your customer, you want to make them happy. हम जब अपना काम करते हैं then we don't see कि हमने अपने MOU में, अपने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में कहा था कि हम ये करेंगे, अब इसके अलावा हम यहाँ से यहाँ एक सुई नहीं उठा कर रखेंगे. A lot of people say that this is not part of a contract. We go the extra mile, and in fact हमारी जो reputation बनी है वो यही बनी हुई है. They always over deliver, they never under deliver, because we commit less and we deliver more, because we feel that is what makes a happy customer and a happy client. So we try and always look at the customer satisfaction. तो अगर कोई भी चीज़ हम extra mile जा सकते हैं उनके लिए, we are spoiling our own clients, I know that, and we're probably spoiling the market by doing that, but I think in the long run it pays. It really does. It pays. So to increase customer satisfaction, you have to listen to your customers, be involved in their buying experience.
So don't you think when the customer keeps expecting you to over deliver every time?
Yeah, but every time we still give them a contract of under delivering, which they accept. But they know कि ये over deliver करेंगे, and that is why you get your retainer clients. That is why you get your repeat clients, because they know कि ये लोग अब जैसे, I'll just give you examples of ये जो अदब फेस्टिवल है या चिल्ड्रंस लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल जो पाकिस्तान लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल हो गया, मतलब हमारे सारे रिपीट क्लाइंट्स हैं। वो फर्स्ट टाइम जब वो आए उनको इतना मीडिया कवरेज मिल गया, हमने कमिट किया था कि हम इतने न्यूज़पेपर, इतना चैनल्स, इतना सोशल मीडिया का देंगे, अब उससे इतना ज़्यादा मिल गया। तो अब वो वापस आए तो अब उनका ये है कि हाँ हमें पता है आपका तो ज़्यादा तो आएगा। जब मैंने उनका वही अपना स्टैंडर्ड लिखा तो जैसे आप सिर्फ इतने ही कमिट कर रही हैं, मैंने कहा हाँ मैं कमिट इतना कर रही हूँ, पर आपको भी पता, मुझे भी पता है कि आपको मिलेगा ज़्यादा।
Create boundaries.
हाँ
Create
एग्जैक्टली।
boundaries.
सो वो फिर इस तरह ही हम काम करते हैं। अगर खुदा ना खासा ना कर पाए तो हमने अपना बैकबोन तो वी केप्ट आवरसेल्व्स प्रोटेक्टेड, बिकॉज कुछ भी हो सकता है। कराची में आपको कभी नहीं पता कि हालात का सडनली दे टेक अ टर्न फॉर द वर्स्ट। पता चला एक बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट हो गया सदर में, सारी चीज़ें, ट्रैफिक बंद हो गई, सब कुछ बंद हो गया, सारा मीडिया वहाँ चला गया, एक बंदा भी नहीं आया, तो आप तो फंस गए ना। अब आपने तो एक चीज़ कमिट की है, बट यू हैव टू डिलीवर। So हम हमेशा we keep ourselves, our backsides protected, so to say, but we always try and deliver more.
Yeah.
So just as it's important to have a happy customer, it's also important not to let go of your unhappy customer. Don't just shy away from them and say, oh, okay, yeah, so this is bad news. I don't want to have anything to do with this person because this person is grumbling, and you find out what the problem was. So most entrepreneurs will stay away from unhappy clients, but feedback from unhappy customers can help your business to grow positively. Remember, your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. They will tell you where you went wrong, what you did wrong, what was their expectations that you didn't manage to deliver.
Feedback.
The feedback is very important. And you know, we've had one or two clients who were known for being very difficult, and not just known for being very difficult in being demanding, but the way they interacted with people was also something that it used to set people's backs up. And they had been to a lot of agencies before they came to work with us. And I had probably the same problems that all the other agencies had faced, because that person's nature is such. But there was something that in my nature maybe, that I was trying to understand where that person was coming from, what that person's nature was. And I knew that this was just that person's style of talking and her style, the psyche. It was not that they meant bad, but that they just operated that way. So I sort of started behaving in a way that developed their comfort, and that person keeps laughing and saying that we fight like cat and mouse and like Tom and Jerry, but that person always comes to me, and we have that rapport and we have that relationship. That I know that person has blind faith in me, that client, and it's not that it's always smooth sailing, it's not, but it's just that you have to keep your customer happy at all times. And so, you know, we work it out. We come to a base where that person is happy and I'm happy, and we work it out. I put my foot down where I need to, and that person puts their foot down when they need to, but it works.
And I think this is the success of a business, when you can have your happy clients are happy to you, but if you are comforting your unhappy clients, that is your art. Yeah, exactly. That's the success of a business.
Exactly. Next. So become more competitive. It all comes down to your USP or unique selling proposition, your unique selling point. This is what makes you better than your competitors. It can be your location, your product, your service. Often it's you, yourself. It's an amalgamation of all these things, but it's also you yourself, how you sell yourself. A lot of times people come to me because they know I am heading it. So they're coming to Starlings. Starlings has got a reputation of its own. Starlings has established itself, but they want to make sure I'm there. So it's you that also makes all the difference. So you have, and by the same token, I tell everybody in my team that you have to make yourself that important to them as well, that they may want to make sure that you're going to be there also to cover, you know. So it's the way you present yourself And always keep your focus in mind. You have to know how you're going to be, because there are now tons and tons and tons of companies that is doing exactly the same thing that you all are doing, that are doing exactly the same thing that I'm doing. How am I going to stand out? It's the way I'm going to conduct myself, it's what I'm going to be offering, it's the value addition that I'm going to give to my clients that's going to make the difference. My product, yes, if it's not a good product, it will not sell. So the product obviously has to be good. The baseline is your product, it has to be good. But then, you have to, it's how accessible you make it, what the cost is, how much you put a price tag to it, whether they think it's going to be worth it, if it's an additional price tag, excuse me, to what's in the market, is it worth paying that additional amount? What is it that you're giving them extra that the other people are not giving them? So all these things will add up. So you have to be there on top of it, knowing what your competition is offering, and then making your stuff better. The next. So be the best. If you want to retain your clientele and make new ones, always strive for excellence. Being the best in what you do is about being in constant motion, working harder, working faster. And timelines are very, very important. You have to deliver on time. If you don't meet timelines and if you don't value time, you'll never succeed. That is one thing that I find that is lacking. There's a lot of, we keep saying professionalism नहीं है पाकिस्तान में, professionalism नहीं है, मगर professionalism जो नहीं है ना, सबसे पहले जो वजह है वो यही है कि हम टाइम ही की नहीं वैल्यू करते। जब तक हम टाइम की कीमत नहीं रखेंगे and we don't value time, we'll never become thoroughly professional. So measure your success. Everyone defines success differently. The best measure of success is that you should be enjoying what you do. So if you enjoy it, you will succeed. If you do it as a chore, you won't succeed. I'm open to questions. More questions. So let me just tell you a little bit about Starlinks when we started it. Starlinks was started in November 2015. Prior to that, I was with Hum Network. I was their GM Public Relations and Publications for 11 years. And I had never worked in an office until I joined Hum TV. So I was always a freelance journalist. I've always worked from the house. And Sultana bullied me into joining them when they were going to start Hum TV. And I had gone to interview her for Dawn, and after I had done her interview, she got back to me and she said, "My channel khulne wali hai January mein, I want you to join as the head of the PR department." So that was, I learned on the ground, on the field as it were, because I had never done PR in my life. I had only been a journalist, and I had only been communicating with English journalists. I didn't even know the vernacular press. So to suddenly start a PR department in which I had to be in touch with all kinds of media, whether it was Sindhi press or Urdu press, well, of course English press, but mostly Urdu press, because we were trying to sell our plays in Urdu to them. So it was a completely on-the-job training. That's what I had, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Took it up as a challenge. It was not a chore for me. I had thought I would leave 3 months later because I thought I'd make a real fool of myself or wouldn't know what to do. I landed up being with them for 11 years. I was one of the pioneers who started before the channel was launched, and a lot of people came and went in between. And then when I left, after 11 years, it was to start my own company with my son and daughter-in-law. And so we started in November of 2015. And in 2016, we got approached by Lucky One Mall, which is the largest mall in South Asia, for its launch. We were probably one of 100 companies they must have approached to give presentations. And we landed getting the contract for launching that. So this was like the biggest project one could think of, coming to a startup. because we were just a startup. We were only a year old, not even a year old when they came to us, and a year old by the time we started working on it. And that's when I got the awards that Tara was talking about, for the Stevie's Award for Startup of the Year in New York, and the SVUS Award in San Francisco for the CEO of the World Award for women entrepreneurs, and Silver Award for PR. The CEO of the World Award was a Gold Award, the PR Award was a Silver Award, and the Startup was a Bronze Award. So we've got all the categories. But it was all because of this mammoth thing that came up, and I think that helped us grow substantially, because when you get such a huge project, then you have enough to be able to invest and get more resources, more people on board who you can afford to pay, and that's how you grow. So वही जो बात मैं कर रही थी, that you reinvest in your company and you put that money in so that you can start growing further. And then आपकी reputation build हो जाती है, आपका the way you deliver, the way you work, everything makes a lot of difference. And I think for me, yes, measuring success about enjoying it, but it's also measuring success by your repeat clientele, by people who vouch for you and who keep coming back to you. That for me is a real success, because that shows that they're happy with what you're doing here.
So I have a question for you. When you're starting out, and even at any slow period like a pandemic, how did you start building your client base and growing your client base? Because it's wonderful when lucky one comes to you, but not everyone has someone automatically coming to them. And you've shown scale like no other. Any tips on that?
Okay, so basically, I think people didn't just automatically came to me. That 11 years that I had of my experience in Hum TV, my reputation as somebody who was very professional and as somebody who delivered whatever work she was given, even though I was doing, I was not doing event management per se, I was just doing PR, and I was doing PR just for the company that employed me. I was not doing it for anyone else. But everybody in the market knew how I was operating and how I was working. So when I officially, when my resignation was officially accepted, because I'd resigned 2-3 months before I finally left, but they were not accepting my resignation and they were not allowing me to tell everybody that I'd resigned. So when I finally left and the HR department was officially informed, before I knew what had happened, Dawn Online had already written Powerhouse Leaves Hum, and I hadn't even realized it had come in Dawn, and I had started getting phone calls from potential clients that they wanted to hire me. So your reputation speaks for yourself regardless. And I had thought I would do a big launch event and introduce myself and introduce my company. I never had the chance to do that, because I had my first client even before I had set up my office. So, and I had wanted to leave earlier. I left in October, thinking that I would start in November, so that I would have a couple of months to set up an office and do all the paperwork and things like that. But I had already started getting clients from November only. So that was, I mean, it is huge, but it's the way you work, the way you operate.
But what about a person who started, like Tara said, don't have any contacts from behind? Like you have a contacts from behind, but person who don't have any contacts of yours. So what?
So basically, when you start up with something, there is something that you must have done in order to start in what you are starting, right? If you are running a consultancy, there must be some people who have worked with you in that field, or you were studying with people, or your teachers. Somebody who will endorse you. So when you start up something and you have their endorsements saying that we know the way she works, we know she can deliver, we know that she has what it takes, those endorsements count. So because nobody just, I mean, very few people start from scratch when nobody knows them from Adams, when no family member, no friend has ever tasted her fudge, and she is suddenly going to come into the kitchen, make fudge and say, okay, now I'm going to sell it. It doesn't happen that way. Somebody has had our fudge. Even if she had not been making it professionally, some people must have tried it. Get them to endorse it. Put it on your social media. Tell them to talk about it. That's the way to go. People, when somebody reads about it and says, okay, ये बहुत तारीफ करी है, and I know this person, तो ये अगर तारीफ करी है तो अच्छा ही होगा, चल मैं try कर लेती हूँ. अब मैंने try किया. The taste of the pudding is in the eating, so when I try it and I like it, then I will endorse it firsthand that I loved her stuff. Once it happens, your credibility has started building up, your reputation has started building up. So everybody has some content. We are not isolated people.
Yeah.
We don't live on an island by ourselves. We have somebody or the other who knows what we've done, who will endorse you. If your work is good, you will get endorsed. And that's what's important. So 2 months, 2-3 months, yes, we also didn't have work. We did PR because that was something that we could just do sitting at home. So social media में हम promote कर रहे थे हमारे retainer clients को. कुछ अगर हमें चीज़ें dispatch करनी थी, वो हम कर रहे थे just as a goodwill and things like that. But we were not doing events. I think in those 2 to 3 months जब बिल्कुल lockdown था, the only event we did was when one of our clients wanted to give these kits for COVID to a hospital. So we did that event for them. But otherwise, and it was very difficult but lucky because I had not kept my, I didn't have that top-notch, very expensive resources. I could still continue to give them their salaries. I didn't cut on anybody's salaries and I didn't fire anybody. So I did pay from my pocket for those, so it was an investment, but I paid it for those 2-3 months. And then जैसे activities started, then people started coming back because they knew
Eventually
that
resources created.
नहीं, एक चीज़ ये याद रखें कि ये जो पेंडेमिक का जो वर्ड अभी मैम ने यूज़ किया ना, that's investing, right? As a firm, hers is a very small scale, वो तो भी, but हमारी बहुत बड़ी firm थी. We did not, अच्छा बड़े बड़े बिजनेसमैन के उस ज़माने में ना पिक्चर्स आ रहे थे व्हाट्सएप पे कि फायर हो गए, नोटिस लगे हुए, प्लीज डोंट कम फ्रॉम टुमारो. हमने अपना जैनिटोरियल स्टाफ भी फायर नहीं किया. Even though we were not running the office, everyone was sitting at home. There was only one PN coming because I was the crazy one going to the office all the time. वो मुझे मेरे CEO ने भी कहा कि आप हमारा ऑफिस बंद करवाएंगी, वो बेचारा करीब अरेस्ट हो जाएगा because he has to serve duty. But the staff all came back. We did not have a single dropout during that time.
I mean, there were...
And we are talking about 700 people. With our company, it was about to the tune of 600 plus all over Pakistan. Everybody came back.
It makes a lot of difference how you treat your people. So that's another thing which is very important.
Basically, you own them. When you own them,
Yes, and there was the at that point in time, यानी बहुत सारे suggestions आए कि हम उनको transport का allowance ना दें because they are not coming to the office anymore. या हम तो then one of our partners said कि ठीक है वो नहीं तो वो अपने घर का internet हमारे काम के लिए use कर रहे हैं ना. They all had to get increased bandwidth of internet in order to be able to work from home. So that was a hardship. So they said नहीं fuel allowance भी दे दो. Even though nobody's car was coming for 3 months.
and these are the people who are funding the people who are not able to don't have jobs. These are the people.
That is how you invest in people. उसके बाद में जब हमने अपने स्टाफ को बोला ना किसी को छुट्टी नहीं मिलेगी, everyone said हाँ हमने तो छुट्टी enjoy कर ली. हालांकि everybody was working from home, but we all know that working from home is a less stressed environment than
In Pakistan, yes.
in Pakistan. Yes, internationally
work from
no.
home का तो वो concept ही नहीं है ना जो internationally है. हम लोगों के तो work from home means छुट्टी है जी. तो वो तो I mean आपको किसी को ट्रेस करना है तो एक प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है बिकॉज ना वो फ़ोन पे मिलेंगे ना लैपटॉप पे मिलेंगे. आई हैव जस्ट कम फ्रॉम एन इवेंट दैट आई डन इन मैनचेस्टर एंड आई वाज एंड देन आई ट्रैवल्ड ऑन टू मीट सम फ्रेंड्स एंड शी वाज वर्किंग फ्रॉम होम और she wasn't working from home but she was the HR manager and she had people who had been working from home and she had this huge screen in front of her So I told her, I said, how do you monitor that they're going to be working from home? मतलब मेरे भी people हैं from working from home, but वो तो party time होता है उनका. She said, we have this app and
Yeah, so
screen
the
time
tracker,
उसका वो जो होता है.
tracker,
If you
there's a
move from the
tracker.
screen for even 2 seconds, वो
Yeah,
record हो जाता है.
record
So
हो
if you
जाता
are
है.
going to offer your prayers, you're going to eat, you're going to the washroom, whatever, वो कितने period के लिए आप गए वो. Otherwise, you have to be sitting in front of the screen.
And,
ये concept ही नहीं है यहाँ पे.
they used to evaluate their salaries through that tracker.
Exactly.
Like they are giving their full 9 to 5 timings to their
बिल्कुल.
screen.
And 9 to 5 सिर्फ नहीं, when you're working from home ना, then they even रात becomes
Yeah,
part of their
it's
time.
the same
Because
goes.
my niece who works in Dubai, and she was working from home when I had gone to meet her. She said that. So I told her, I said, let's go to the global village. You know, working from home or WhatsApp. So है तुम्हारे पास? हाँ, ऐसे नहीं होगा. Work from home means I have to be sitting in front of my screen. I said, अच्छा ठीक है. When do you finish? 6 बजे. So ठीक है, चलो 7 बजे का प्रोग्राम बनाते हैं, वहाँ पहुँचेंगे. 7 बजे हम पहुँचे हैं and अभी तो गाड़ी से उतरे ही नहीं थे और उसका फ़ोन आ गया from the office. And throughout she was on the phone, she didn't enter the global village. मैंने पूरा वो राउंड लगा के मैं बाहर निकल गया. I said, what is this? This is not your office hours. She said, work from home over here is now, it's like this. रात को भी is work from home, then it's any time.
Basically, they are disciplined. They make
Exactly.
they make the
Exactly.
strategies to how to work with the remote people. But we are not that much advanced.
बिल्कुल.
But
But we have to. We
yeah,
have
we
to
have
start
to,
doing
we
these
have
things if we want to
Like
get
I
to
have
that
remote
level.
workers,
Yeah.
and I have given a tracker to them that your salary will be evaluated on this basis.
Exactly.
I will not be giving you
बिल्कुल.
extra money.
Yeah. No, बिल्कुल. Even when you send your operations people or your marketing people, sales people to go somewhere, आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं एग्जैक्टली, कितना टाइम आपने वहीं गुजारा है और कितना टाइम आप चले गए खाना खाने के लिए, सारी चीज़ें रिकॉर्ड हो जाती हैं, सब कुछ पता
True,
है.
yeah.
And that's the only way to do it. That's how you scale up. That's how you grow. You have to keep putting all these things in place, these checks.
You have to make a
balances,
rules and regulations.
and follow them. Like I'm very strict about punctuality. If you've been given a time, you have to come. Slot machine है, you slot in that you've come. You slot in and slot out when you go. अब वो कहते जी से 5 मिनट लेट. भाई क्यों 5 मिनट लेट है? तुमको मैंने एक जब टाइम दे दिया, you leave early and you come knowing that you have to be here at this time. 5 minute late is late. 3 late, 1 absent. सीधा सोचो. Anything else?
And we are very punctual and exactly on time to release the amazing Shanaz. So thank you so much for being here. Wasn't she incredible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Shanaz, then let's get a nice round of applause for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Shanaz Ramzi, CEO of Starling's PR and Events. So today we had a very enjoyable workshop. It was on how to scale clients. And I'm sitting here, so I was rather standing here at Ladies Fund. I have all these young entrepreneurs who have just started up, and they are, so this was a great experience working with them, talking to them, and I hopefully I've managed to communicate something that they will be able to use in their lives from now on. Thank you.